in this lesson we're going to concentrate more on scripting the objects that we created earlier. Scripting is very powerful. It can be quite simple, as you'll see soon, but it can be very complex as you get further down your development journey in computer programming. Okay, we're going to first of all create code or script on the apple. So if you can open the apple scene, you'll notice we have all these nodes we created previously. Don't worry about the pickup sound, we'll cover that in a future tutorial. Okay, what we need to do, you need to click on the apple root node, and if you remember, we actually put an animation on the apple previously. We're concentrating more on code. Now when you put code on a node, you got to make 100% certain you selected the correct node. Now I don't want to put code on the collision shape sprite 2D animated 2D. We want to do that on the apple. Now you'll notice there's a green script type option here. That's what you would do to start the new script based on the node you're selecting. Now from now on, and in the future videos on this series, I'll already bring in the code that I've already completed on the unit, but you will need to put these on from the beginning. Okay, so first of all we need to click on the apple node, where that's the root node where we want the code. Now you'll notice that my script button has got a little red mark on it, meaning there's already a script just there. But you will need to click on that, and then you'll be issued with a screen the same as this. Now again, I'll not say it again, I've already gone ahead to actually put in the code to save time for this particular scene, which is the apple. You'll notice extends area 2D in your case is already there. Then we need to put a function in. Now we did see the function earlier, so I'm not going to explain too much of that, but there's the main start of the loop. Now you'll notice func process delta. Now what you may have, you may not have the underscore before the delta. Now if you don't put the underscore in, because we've not used a delta actual variable, the Godot engine will complain slightly saying there's an unused variable. So to avoid that, we just do an underscore on the delta there, and that's fine. So that's the start of the loop. Now you might be noticing what are these hash marks. These hash marks are what's called comments. Comments are very important for a number of reasons. One, in the coursework, you need to actually include comments in your coursework, otherwise you will be marked down. Also, they're a good way of explaining what particular sections of the code do. Sometimes the answer to a particular problem you're working on isn't on the internet. Would you believe? Okay, there's certain things that's not on the internet, especially when you're developing a bespoke piece of programming software or program that's personal to you. There'll be no notes of exact same code. Now what we need to do, we can create this code here, and then we can put a hash at the beginning of it, and then make a note of exactly what this does. So you can see the code to animate the apple animation attached to the animated sprite node. The animated sprite node, that's where the animation is attached. And then we're going to type these program lines in here. So the process func delta will run continuously until this program has stopped. Now this is the most important part. We're going to actually run the animation automatically as soon as this program runs. Now if you remember what we did last time, when you see the $sign, that's addressing a node directly. So where I've got animated sprite 2D, you can see animated sprite 2D node there. So it's directing that, and if I click back onto that, you'll see the animation we created earlier, and we call this animation play. If you remember, in the player we created animation for idle, walk and jump. Now that's where you replace this part of the program with whatever animation you want to actually use. So when you put that into there, and you can test your scene by pressing play, but I'll first of all leave the code here so you can press pause on the video and type the code in exactly the way it is. Or if you have bought the Create 2D Games in Godot 4 project book, you can actually use the text script that's in there to put that inside your code. Doesn't matter which one it is, it depends how good you are at typing and how fast you are. But press pause on the video, type the code in, and when you've done that, I'll come back to you in a second. Okay, to test this scene, what we need to do, you press the play run current scene, or press F6, and you'll see the apple is animating away in the corner there. Now I'll just change the option in the 2D window, because that's why you can only see the top quarter of it. Now I'm just going to move the animated sprite around a little bit so you can see it better. So I press play now, just so you can see the apple animating, and it's the code behind that that's making the actual apple move. It's this particular code that's making the apple move. You can press stop on that. Now I'm going to put that apple back, because it's very important that you don't move the root node of the apple, otherwise again you get errors from Godot saying you shouldn't be moving the actual node value around too much. Okay, so that is that. Now the next part, we actually go into what's called a signal. A signal is a piece of code that runs just the once, as opposed to the process delta, which runs round and round and round until you stop the program. A signal will only run once, and what this signal is going to do, if an object contacts this apple, i.e. the player, certain things will happen. We created the HUD in a previous lesson, so as the player collects the apple, we want two things to happen. One, we want to increase the HUD, or the game manager, don't forget, the game manager score variable, by a number of points. I'm going to select 10 points for collecting the apples, but you can select whichever points you want, no problems at all. Okay, so we need to detect that collision, and if the collision happens, the aforementioned actions will be put into place. So to do the signal, what you need to do, you go onto the apple node, because that's where we want the signal, and you'll notice there's a signal type note on my apple node. If you haven't got one yet, we're going to create that in a minute. So click on the apple. Now you'll notice in the inspector there's a tab next to the inspector called node. Click onto that, and what you need to do is double click onto the entered, or the body entered, and what that will do is create this screen for you. You need to make 100% certain you selected the apple connecting from, because that's what contains a script already. Now if you haven't got a script already put on the apple, you would need to put a script on first, because you're going to get an error otherwise. So before you try to create a signal, make sure there's an existing script on the node you're putting the signal on. Then, because it'll put that particular piece of code inside there. So when you click connect, before you click connect, make sure on-body entered is there, because that's the same on-body entered there. And then when you click connect, I'm going to click cancel for now, but you'll click connect, you'll get this added to the script. Func on-body entered. Now that's what you will get. Now again, to stop errors or a warning appearing from Godot, you might not have the underscore next to the body here, so just put the underscore inside there. And then from now to put the code on the signal, now you'll notice a green signal part there. To put the code on the signal, it doesn't do this for you. You need to put the code on yourself. So what I've done, I've gone ahead and put some code inside there. Now I'm going to just bring this code up so you can see what it does. I'm just pressing the delete key when I'm pressing the previous line. Okay, and then this code will run only when the player enters the body of the apple. Okay, so what happens is when something connects, it's game manager.score, and if you remember, we put a game manager previously, so it's game manager.score equals game manager.score plus 10. So we're actually putting that 10 points for collecting the apple. We're also going to increase the health, so game manager.health, game manager.health plus 1. So we're going to add 1 point to the health soon. Now don't worry too much about this pickup sound. We're going to cover sound in a later video. I just commented it out for now. Now you will know what the comment list is there if it's a hash. Then we're going to create a slight time delay. Await get tree dot create timer 0.2 of a second. Now the reason why we put this in here, if we did not put a time delay before we get rid of the apple, it will get rid of the apple too quick, so we couldn't see it. We couldn't see it move, because computer programming works at, well, in this particular case, 1/60th of a second, so that's gone instantly. So that's the reason why you put slight time delay in there, so the apple will take time to actually queue free. Now the queue free gets rid of the actual node that's contacted in the scene, so queue free gets rid of that. So again, I'll leave the screen here for a couple of seconds so you can actually type in the code, make 100% certain the code's 100% correct, and then once you've done that, you can press on the play. Okay, so we can press play on this. We'll still see it working. Now you'll notice the apple is turning around in the corner there. I've already showed you that before. So I can drag this around and nothing will happen until the player contacts this, makes contact with this apple. When it does, we'll test this in a scene very soon. Okay, so that's the coding done for the apple. Next time we'll code the bee. I'll see you then.